Like recording.
Yeah, you know what? Fucking let's just record. Yo, welcome to another episode of Whiskey Sour Libations and Conversation. I'm your host, Dom, and I have an amazing guest this week. She is hilarious. She is everything. She is a comedian. She is witty. She is just great. You know, we have to say that for Black women, you know, because we just kind of be the bomb.
Yeah, girl. I'm just like, I just need a hug. Need a hug.
Please welcome the curvaceous, the comedic Veronica Brown to the stage.
Hey y'all, how you doing? What's up?
Girl,
Doing?
I've been dying to get you on, first of all, and I
Really?
felt like some of yeah, like and then I feel like the conversations one that we have pretty much like offline and comments or whatever is just like, okay, this needs to be a thing. This needs to happen.
Yeah.
And pretty much I am continuing. I felt like this month I would dedicate it to um I guess the miseducation of Black relationships, because I feel like there's a lot of pandering happening,
Mm.
and I feel like we kind of, it's not that it's not so much that we have the same views. I
Hmm.
feel like we can relate to a lot of things. One being Black girls in Hollywood, you know, making names for ourselves.
Yeah.
Also, really being able to listen, pick apart, and understand what's being said. And something interesting you said, as right when I was about to hit record, you were saying that I need the advanced level.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know, and I feel like a lot of the conversations revolving around relationships are so remedial.
Mm.
In the sense of, one, I don't know what the guest last week, Andre, that I had, I got so many messages about what was happening and what wasn't happening.
I need to see it. All I did was saw the clip, and I was like, damn. I'm just like, I need to get around. But yeah, go ahead. What happened?
You know, I many people listen to respond and not to understand the whatever the problem or situation is at hand. And I felt like that was the space that I was kind of in trying to break certain things down. And I wasn't coming, I mean, I understand that life, a lot of times we navigate through things that happen, you know, to us, and different lessons we were taught. I think part of that entails unlearning, being able to process things that we've seen or had happen to us, learning from that and growing, instead of staying in that space and saying, I'm this way or I do this because such and such and such and such.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was trying to explain to him just one of the many conversation topics that happen is that I feel like men date and lead a lot of times with their, I like saying pocketbook, with their pocketbooks.
Your pocketbooks. Okay.
And men don't necessarily believe that to be true, but everything always goes back when men try to make women feel small or say they're going to take certain things away. It always goes back to materialistic, monetary value things.
Mm.
And so I just was wondering, like, you know, like you were in that conversation when we were initially on IG Live,
Mm-hmm.
and me trying to break down, to the people listening, if you didn't catch last week, I played a clip where a woman was saying that women don't want to do anything for men.
Mm.
And I think it just resorted back to women and men a lot of times don't like the people that they dated.
It's like, so why are you with them? Um, it's, you know what? It, like, as far as the topic that women don't like to do anything for men, I'm going by. I'm not going by these songs and just
Right.
the, the scuttlebutt, because a lot of times,
I like that.
um, men and women contradict themselves,
Hmm.
doing all this rah rah on social media. but not really backing up in your actions, or
Yeah.
maybe, not really adding context except when it comes to only your image.
Right.
So when I hear like blanket statements like that, I'm at a point. I used to go back and forth and all that crap. That is such a waste of time to really, especially with the man. It's like, why am I doing this? Like, you're not even trying to listen to what I'm saying and break it down. It's just y'all women and da, 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 and it was kind of like a manosphere mindset. So that's why I'm very particular and selective, especially when it comes to men, when it comes to communicating and talking about certain subjects, because some men will have it where they're going to protect their own image at the expense of yours. And I'm like, okay, this is not a protective conversation, or where you hear me. And I've had those conversations and stuff like that. And I had one ignorant conversation. Oh God, it was like with a comedian. Oh God, I was just like, he's not wrapped too tight, but he was just saying stuff about basically that whole threat. Oh, that's why you're not gonna have a man. That's not a threat anymore. That's not like some women fall into that. A lot of us are like, and we're self. I'm not trying to. Um, we have to do the sacrificing and the compromising. I'm like, at the expense of what? Like, what are
Yeah.
you this? And the list, he didn't have much worth himself. He was more of a nigga mindset. Let's just say what it is. It was some nigga not
Do
mindset.
I
And he was
know
going
him?
down the, huh?
Do I know this person?
I don't know. I don't think so. I hope you don't.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
you don't need to. And he's not a bad guy. It's just I never heard him speak before. And we were at the Laugh Factory, and he was just saying, it came up to the question like something about, oh yeah, you got to put up with the bullshit, and talking about my worth, and all his worth was saying was, yeah, I clean, I cook, I do this. I'm just like, and I have a big dick. I'm like, dude, if you have to mention your penis to talk about your worth, like you're the prize, I'm sorry for your girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad she's not black because we don't need that. I'm just like, okay, thank God. And he claimed that we were talking one time and we weren't. I'm just like, okay, this dude is weird. It's like, oh, you ghosted me, and I'm just like, what? We were never talking, weirdo. What the hell are you talking about? But it is seemed kind of like a war, quote unquote, a gender war going on, and I think that for our piece as black women, stay out of it. The way
Yep.
you win the war is to walk away and
Yep.
work on your self love. That's all you can do. And then the men, some men are trying to catch up. Like, hey, I'm sorry. I'll keep up, because collectively we're just like, okay, we're tired of this. We're walking away, and
Yeah.
financially we're holding the black, economic, hands. We're funding that. We're funding your
Yeah.
tickets. We're looking at your shows, and sometimes, and we expect reciprocity, and it doesn't come as a collective.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't even remember what your question was, but I went on a tangent. I forgot what she asked
No,
me.
it's an interesting thing is that I wonder where the idea and concept where this even came from, because we think about, just our history of being here in America has been very tumultuous as a whole, like 500, 600 years, how long we've been here. And I think that I always wonder where the conversation started. Does it go back to the projects? That idea where the government put certain things in place, and then they wouldn't allow the man to be in the house, and so I always wonder where these ideals come from. We always talk about infidelity. It's always been a thing, whether you have been black or white. Especially back in the day,
True.
it was so easy to be in the same city, town, and then your father could have a family across the tracks.
Hmm.
Though some people believe that that's not true. I'm like, do you know how many people in your family that's probably like,
Hmm.
like side kids?
Yeah, there's some.
And they were taken care of just like his
Mhm.
main family. So I always wonder where this idea came from, where we're consistently having this conversation. And again, I understand the concept of social media. I
Mhm.
also understand that the negative topics are always pushed to the front. But I'm
Yeah.
like,
Like,
yo,
where did this start? Like,
yes. And I'm like, again, I'm like, I thought I unfollowed all of this, these wrong pages.
these
And
algorithms are. I don't care what
I'm
you
like,
say.
yo, I'm like, I have turned off sponsored suggested posts. I have it all off. And I'm like, yeah, here we are. Because somebody has reposted something that I follow. And even just now, Tyler Chronicles just I'm pretty sure he was gonna slide in and do a voiceover on the video.
Mm.
But before I could even get there, it's that same chick that is talking about men needing silence. When men are silent, it doesn't mean anything is wrong. And I'm like, we know that everything isn't always. Now there's here's the difference about the silence thing,
Mhm.
is that silence, one, is loud. Two, what type of silence is it? What's happening? Is it the game? Is it something's watching? Whatever. But you can feel that vibe and you can feel that energy. But
Mhm.
it's also, it's like, women, we enjoy silence too.
Oh yeah.
It's like, I need moments. When I tell you, I'm like, the idea of being married and having my separate house, like, I am okay with that, because I'm a high impact person. Like, if I have too much, you know, eventful things happening,
Mhm.
even if they're really great, I'm like, yo, I need a week to recover. And I
Yeah.
need that moment to myself. But I'm like, who told you that women feel like, everybody is so crunk about, yes, I
I
said
heard that
crunk.
admitted.
People are so crunk to take Kevin Samuel's place.
You know what? It's really, when I say the manosphere, I don't even indulge. I used to. This is coming from someone who used to indulge. He used to be, make up all excuses for black men. I'm like, you know what? I have to put responsibility on black women who've pumped black men's heads up
Hmm.
so much over
Hmm.
the bare minimum. We set the
Girl.
bar very low, and after decades and decades of this, of course, as a black man, I'd be like, well, I have a college degree and a job, so I'm the cream of the crop, and but you got to be X, Y, and Z, and all these other things that you don't put these taxes on a non-black woman, and we supposed to endure things. We're supposed to do, like, because we've been conditioned, indoctrinated, really,
Yep.
through
Yep.
media, through the
Hello.
family, and aunties or whoever who chose that route of kind of like the struggle of, or you got to build a
Yep.
dude up and stuff, and you
Yep. In
don't
order to
deserve this.
obtain love, I say that all the time,
Uh,
Veronica. We were taught that in order to obtain love, it has to come at some sort of struggle, which
mhm.
isn't true.
No, it's not. Like, if you want and you have access, a woman has access, let's just be honest, mainly on her looks. The more edge she has over mate selection, and our looks actually cover more things, like, money, all that kind of stuff. But let's just talk about the laws of attraction.
Yeah.
Um, More stock is put into a woman's looks. So when a woman who just says, which I rather move in silence, but if a woman says publicly, like, "Hey, I don't want a man that makes anything less than six figures," and she could be a secretary, she could be whatever, because a lot of these women who get these, high value by financially, I don't mean character, like money wise,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
they can, and they don't have to have as much as he does. And that's the
Right.
argument I hear when you cherry pick, like, oh, well, what do you have? It didn't matter when you was looking at her ass. It didn't matter when you tried to fuck her. So why does it matter now? Because you want to bring her down to the level that you at, so you can have access to her body. So I'm just going out for y'all actions, bro. That's all I can believe when it comes to a guy. But as far as the conversation, some people choose slavery, some people go, after we started to, coexist, and segregation was gone. We can go back. It wasn't a conversation, it was more of when we were not forced to have to be together.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a lot of these, on some of the researches that I looked up, that a lot of these leaders, not all of them, black leaders, wanted access to whiteness, wanted access to white women, wanted access. So a lot of us who got, I mean, I wasn't there, but the ones, I didn't get bit by no dog. But the point of when I say us, I mean other black people putting their lives on the line when the main goal was for some of these leaders to have access to whiteness. And when they did, a lot of people left. And by them, I mean men. They started the trend. Let's just be honest. Even with the loving and when
Hold on. You're
yeah,
not
with
gonna,
loving. Oh yeah, the loving in the court system. That more men,
I
black men
might not
left.
exist without that. No, I'm just playing. I got an S on my last name. I ain't one of them.
Ain't one of them,
I
but
ain't one of them. I got a lovings for
it
all
it
of them.
and it has it's trickled down. It's like, okay, black women take the crumbs, and I've had that mindset. And I had
Mm,
to really unlearn and listen to. I know Chrissy's one of her focus is on dark skinned women, but she's helped me so much on really breaking down, and it's very unbiased. Like she really breaks
yeah.
down, like, well, why is it this way? Why is it like, oh, that is so true. I never really noticed that. And so when I see men try to verbally bring you down to where they can access you,
Yep.
it's like, well, wait a minute, you didn't think that over there with her, you didn't think that, why do I don't have to do anything, I don't owe you anything. And
I feel like they think we do.
oh yeah, I had men verbally accost me. I mean, really get into my DMs, um trying, because I unfollowed one dude, you know who he is, but I just unfollowed him. I only followed him for like 3 days, and we had like a disagreement, but it was got very disrespectful um to me, and I'm like, okay, I'm turned off. So I just unfollowed him. I didn't make no announcement. I didn't, it's because I felt like it. Like, I
Yeah.
don't hate watch
Yeah.
people. What's the point? He came into my DMs to confront me about unfollowing him.
Who has that even on? Who has an app in 2022 linked to their phone to have that conversation?
I was like, I
He
looked at
needs to
my
be
DM.
blocked. You're nice. I would have blocked.
Yeah, I really, I put on restricted, but I should have blocked. Um, and I was just like, wow, that's like an antagonistic narcissist. Because I saw the bait and switch in his eyes when I was talking, and he was like, "Oh, but you said this, but why'd you say it like that?" Like, it started interrogating me. I'm just like, "Nick, I thought this was just a regular conversation. We don't have to agree, but why are you coming at me like I'm a child?" And and also, like, the one who like got into my, like, was coming at me. He was at his job. He was at the Comedy Store because I blocked him.
Mm.
And he was like, "You didn't block me once, but you blocked me twice. So you can't come up here with this energy." I'm like, "What? I kid you not. This is the BS where black women, y'all, like, it's coming to a point where that's why things get so aggressive and violent. Like,
Mm-hmm.
when you say no, it could go this, then third. They're like, well, why do you lie about having a boyfriend? Because I don't feel like getting punched in the face. I don't feel like being
Exactly.
called a bitch. It's a 50-50 shot. And that's
It's
the stuff that
yeah,
we go through.
and we and if we're really honest about different things that happen to us, especially as Black women, we're sexualized at such young ages anyway. Um, I remember being in high school, and I would get followed home sometimes off the bus stop, and my cousin would have to get up in the morning with me and walk to the bus stop, and he would be home, on the bus stop waiting for me when I would get off.
Hmm.
Just because, like, one of the times a guy was like catcalling me, and I was like not trying to pay attention to him, and I was like, no, I have a boyfriend, and, he was like, well, bitch, you ugly, I was just trying to fuck you, and like whips out a condom, and I'm just like,
Wow.
okay, so let me walk past my house so you don't know where I live.
Okay.
But it's those are the things that happen to us on a consistent daily basis. You know about how the guy came onto the live and whipped his dick out, and I'm like, wow, like we're just that comfortable. Well, they're just that comfortable. We're just like, I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna do what I want to do,
Mhm.
and I don't care what that looks like because you hurt my feelings. And the conversation that really needs to be had while men are talking about holding women accountable is hold your homeboys fucking accountable. If you know that's not how you act and that's not how your mama and your daddy fucking raised you, check them
Mhm.
niggas, or don't be friends with them, because there's women, black women are constantly and consistently dying at alarming rates at the hands of black men because their feelings
Mhm.
are fucking hurt.
And we the emotional ones. I'm like, bruh, come on. Like I feel you on that one because it's just it's at a point where we're getting better as far as women, and staying out of spaces. Now I'm not totally leaving black spaces per se, but I'm very selective
Yep.
on black spaces
Hmm.
where I'm like, okay, some could go left. I'll still go to the Taste of Soul because it's a spot, but I'll still go there. But us as black women, people idly stand by whenever we get attacked verbally or other than people whip out their phone and and then they skip. I've seen people, I've seen other women of another race where for the most part they'll leave them alone because they know their men protect them,
Yep.
and that's why it's like, oh, okay. And a lot of, I see a lot of men, the good ones, being complicit with
Hmm.
and giving men context and, oh, maybe he shouldn't do it like that, instead of saying, oh, this is wrong, let's not do that. It's saying, women, protect yourselves, but dude, that's not right for you to adultify and sexualize a child. She got her backpack on. She's getting off the damn bus. It's not like, oh, my mistake. No, you just don't care, and it's been
No.
normalized and
It,
protected,
al-
and that's, yeah,
always.
always. And
Always.
it's on the woman, on this, on the woman, like, okay,
Hmm.
well, what did you wear, what did you say? I'm just like, don't freaking matter, man.
That is the weirdest, craziest, but we just live in a predatory society. And and men get a lot of that flack, but women are very predatory as well, by the
Mhm.
way. But I feel like a lot of times men are allowed to be more vocal about being predatory because it's cool. Even today, academics ugly ass, like, made the comment saying that there's really no difference between a 17, a 20, or a 21-year-old. It's just their age. Like, their minds are all the same. So I'm thinking he's going to say it like a mature level, like, they're still very young. But I didn't know this nigga was going to follow up and say, but I should have known because it's academics, because he always on the bull. He don't care. He's still fucking. I'm like, well, that's good to know. And I hope God, and not saying that daughters are a curse, but I hope that when you decide to procreate, I hope that God never gives you a son, so
Mhm.
you can understand what that's like, and how your mindset will shift when it comes to
Mhm.
things like that. Because, but nobody, he's not going to lose his job
Yeah, I was
because
saying
it's
that.
clickbait, whereas somebody else in a certain position might be suspended, or potentially their job will be at risk or lost.
Mhm.
I mean, you see what happened to the white guy at Extra, when he laughed at Donald Trump saying, I'll grab the girl by the pussy. And maybe he said something that I don't know about, but I know for the most part he laughed. He lost
Mhm.
his job. But that's not going to happen to academics, because people, and if even if it does, he'll probably get another job because people believe that he's so influential in regards to our culture. But I was like, who told you that? He sat up here and let Judge Jules just say nigga. Like,
Yeah,
no. And I
there's.
feel like it goes back to that, like, when black people, when we assimilate and we get success, we align that with whiteness. And so everything we know and that we were raised on, we just let it go.
Mm,
And
yeah.
I feel like black men in particular, um, some black men, because I know at least the black men that I hang out with, they move a certain ways. Like you said, you're
Mhm.
very selective. They move a certain way, they speak a certain way, and certain things just don't fly.
Right.
But these black men that keep doing weird shit, interracial shit, and then they always become, they're the victims of those. I won't say transgressions, but
It's like you call a relationship a transgression.
but
Ah.
until they learn and understand, it's always gonna be. It's a black kid missing now
Mhm.
that went on a float trip. And the girl, she didn't even call 911. It was a bystander that just so happened to see
Mm.
what happened.
Wow.
That boy probably dead. He probably dead. He might be dead. Whether I don't know if she pushed him or whatever the case may be, we don't know. But she's just been moving about life. He been missing for days, and
Yeah,
until I mean,
yeah, it's a lot to unpack here when it comes to caring about the woman and the children, because let's just be honest, we as Black women are not in a safe place. We have to create our own safe place, and that's
yep,
on an individual basis. I am not going to rely on somebody to protect me in a situation in public. I'd be
mhm,
appreciative, I'd be happy, but it's definitely on an individual basis. It could be a Black man, it could be a white woman, it could be an Asian man, it could be Armenia. You never know of people who give a damn, and that's your community, because they're Black girls in the Black community are not safe as a collective.
yeah,
So your own community has to be literally handpicked. Either it's a relative or family who's not related to you. Most of my family are people who are not really related to me. It's
baby,
not. So we have to put ourselves first and move accordingly. So these are my solutions. Because when I hear those, I don't listen to the man of spirit. But when the times that I did, if you hear a man, if you're trying to listen to a man on YouTube or whatever, understand what solutions is he trying to give you as a woman.
and what's the why?
What's the why? Like, there's rhetoric, there's divisiveness, and there's you feeling like crap afterwards. That
Mhm.
ain't the thing you need to watch. And we need to work on our self-esteem, to not need validation from whatever the next Kevin Samuels or Fresh and Fit or whoever, because a lot of y'all, a lot of us already support. I didn't know who they were until recently, but a lot of us support them to this level where, okay, now it's too late.
Yeah.
But you mean you could course correct, but it's like, I don't, you have to be very cognizant of what you internalize. You don't
Mhm.
need to go and tell them off or go in the comments you're drinking poison when you do that. Black women, you're drinking poison. This
Yeah.
conversation, it's almost moot at this point, because it just ends up being like this. One's in denial about their participation. The other one's in denial too, to an extent, but Black men still spearhead and get privilege in the Black community versus a Black woman.
Yep.
Period. They
Say
do.
it one more time.
Black, if I can remember, Black men in the community get privilege over Black women. They get the passes, they get the
Yeah.
understanding. We be mad about 5 minutes, then we back on liking their pictures, bumping to their music, and it doesn't matter. They can, oh, well, those tweets were old. Those were 3 years ago when he talked about Black women given dark days. I'm like, that's why I don't know you. I'm not marching. I'm not doing any of those things. I understand on a human level you feel some type of way, but we played the fool one too many times, where I'm like,
Too
I'm not
many.
about to be up here donating to nothing. And first of all, you know where it's going to a man who wouldn't even spit on me if I was on fire, or just
Yep.
because he's Black. Just stop coming to us like we owe you protection and support, and we don't. And then on the other hand, you say our support doesn't mean anything when we say we take it back. So which one is it?
Girl, a lot of people need therapy and they need a lot they need a lot of we we always talk about self-love, self-care, self-worth and monetary value where a lot of it starts here.
Yes.
You know, putting boundaries in place, being able to let go of certain bullshit and create healthy environments for ourselves as well. That's a part of self-love and self-care. And it's a lot of work. It's
Yeah.
a lot of work, and people would rather sit back and stay at that space, and that goes for men and women, than
Mhm.
to really figure out, okay, so what works for me and what doesn't work for me. And when, like you said earlier, when I'm dealing with this person, when I walk away, how do I feel?
Mhm.
And if I'm not feeling great, and it's one thing to talk to a friend about problems, we all can have shit.
Right.
But it's like if every time I talk to you, I don't feel like replenished, even in the
Mhm.
midst of the storm.
Yeah.
I can't. It's
Yeah.
it is it's too much,
Yeah.
and I think that it's a lot of, it's a lot of this happening,
Hmm.
and finger pointing when it needs to be this.
Hmm.
Like, okay, so what am I doing if I'm seeing repetitive, like things happening over and over again? Maybe I need to look at myself because I'm
Hmm.
the common denominator. And I
Hmm.
get it. People go through seasons, and sometimes those seasons, a lot of people fall by the wayside.
Yeah.
And that doesn't necessarily mean it's you, but it's like, okay, what are you taking away from the situation? But it's like, I feel like we keep doing this to each other, and it's like, okay, well, how, like, what are the steps to fix it? If you're feeling like this,
Hmm.
what are the next steps? If you're feeling like I am not getting results, better with results of what I'm doing,
Hmm.
what can I do?
What's the solution?
What's
What's
the solution?
You have to be solution based.
Baby, you get two times to complain. The third time it's like, okay, so how we fixing this?
Right. Like where are we going with this? So if we bring up a problem,
Yeah,
the discussion, okay, what's the resolve? What can we do to participate or not participate anymore in something that doesn't serve us? So
right.
that's what I do when it comes to this, conversation of dating. Of course, I date outside my race. I didn't do it for a long time. Why? Because it was, black love was sold to us. It wasn't really. It was, first of all, it was horrible. But these, I was wondering why I didn't like some of these '90s movies. I'm like,
Wait,
I
hold
don't
on.
like it.
Wait. Hold on. Let's stay here super quick.
Yeah.
Hold that thought. So, what '90s movie? Because we just had an episode about this.
Oh, we did.
What
Okay.
what movie?
Oh, okay. First of all, let's say soul food. That's one of them. Soul food. I was like, if I was Terry, I would have been left my family. I'm like, y'all ain't shit. Y'all taking my money and fucking my man. Why are we family? Like your family sucks. Okay. So
Yep.
I'm just like, and then Bird is with Lim, I think that's his name,
Yep.
the youngest one, right? And
Yeah.
they opened up you at your wedding reception getting freaked up by your ex-girl and thinking that's okay. I'm like, you marrying this? But and he gets mad. He slammed up against the wall because she had got him a job. She went on a date with old dude. Like, I understand you upset, but he pinned her up against the wall like a man. I'm like, what? And like slamming stuff. So you broke, you abusive, you like what? You called for jail?
Baby.
Like what?
Baby.
Bird, you could have done so much better, but that's what it seemed like at the end of the day it was all good. Like, no, Bird, leave his ass. You could do so much better. Don't get not for that creep, but somebody else. But it just showed how, like, what kind of trifling mess is this where it's normalized? This is toxic behavior.
But when we really think about the old school love, and people were like, I just want that love that my grandma and my grandpa had. I'm like, yo,
Ooh.
low key, your grandma probably never worked, so she would have had to like really, really get it out the mud. A lot of y'all grandparents had like 10 and 12 kids. He was taking care of home and fucking every bitch across town. So, and she was just complacent because she didn't have nowhere to go. Now, and then you wonder why they get divorced, like when all y'all are grown and they're like 60, 80, because hey, this next chapter, however long that is, it might be a couple pages, it may not,
Mm-hmm.
but I want to be happy. I don't have to take your shit no more. Like when I was reading this thread on Twitter one day when they were talking about relationships and things like that, and things that women put up with, and a lady was tweeted about her aunt
Mm-hmm.
saying that she wished she didn't call 911 as fast when her husband was having a heart attack because he survived. And she was just like, fuck.
Damn, that nigga live. Shit.
Yeah. Women endure a lot of stuff, and I believe, and men do too. And I'm not taking that away from them, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying like a lot of the things that we're conditioned, like you said, and taught that we have to endure in order to obtain love is not the same for me. like, hey, we got to get a job. We just got to provide. I can do what I want, but I pay these bills. And everything goes back to that. It's just like, if you don't have no say, if I'm doing XYZ, yes, the fuck I do, because I have value and I have work. Like, I
Hmm.
know the fuck I am. I'm not some random chick that is just going to let you piss all over her. Like I'm not.
Yeah, that financial bullying. Because I've heard from kept women, who were in that situation, both black and white.
Hmm.
And some use that as an excuse. See, that's why you don't be with a rich man. There's shitty broke man too. So it's like BS plus you broke.
It's
That's a
shitty
double
across
negative.
the board. And but you know, and a lot of the ones with the money,
Hmm.
they're probably sometimes even worse. Maybe just sometimes
Controlling. Uh-huh.
controlling. It goes back to, like, not being able to know how to communicate. You're smart in all these areas, but when it comes to interpersonal skills, you just lack them.
Mm.
And that's supposed to be my problem. We're
Yeah.
grown. I'm not a mom. You're not a child. If
Hmm.
there's a certain amount of nurturing that you need, yeah, I can give certain levels to you. I can love you. I can support you. But raise you, I cannot do. Go to therapy and figure it the fuck out.
Right. We're enabling each other to, I'm doing what I need to do to fill my cup. And we're helping each
Yeah,
other fill our own cups. Because some days my cup may be lower, yours may be higher, this, that, and the third. But what we're doing, when you say helpmate, when you're helping somebody do something, that means you've been doing it yourself. I'm here to
right.
help you continue to do it yourself. When it comes to, like, self love and things that make you happy and stuff like that. I can't give you, like, here, take this, my heart, don't ever break it. You're responsible for my happiness. It don't work like that. Like you said with the mental health thing. So that is something that needs to be communicated, as well as definitely one thing that has to be really communicated, at least to your best ability, is the role expectations. If you are like, I am not a 50-50 woman, I, you don't have to pay every single bill, but if I want somebody to be in my space, it's worth something. Like, I can do this myself if I want the help, and I want you to be a leader in my house. There's responsibility that comes with that when I'm coming into a situation. And a lot of, I don't say a lot, but yeah, there's a lot of men who don't have the means or at a certain level get mad at that. Why get mad at someone being honest who they're not for you? I don't get mad at men who want an Instagram model. I don't get mad. I'm like, oh, go get him. That's for you.
Girl,
I'm not her.
hold that thought. Hold on.
Go ahead.
Oh shit! I'm breaking shit. Letting people in the house.
No.
No, okay. I'll continue. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just saying, like, I see, like I said, public shaming of stating, what you want. And it's not even disrespectful. I personally don't want to publicize what amount of money I want a man to have. But for those who do, it's funny. I saw one girl say it, and I saw, black women too, because a lot of times black men don't even have to say nothing, because there's black women who are like, they're freaking pit bulls who come after you, who don't want that struggle and don't trauma bond, but get mad at you because you stepped away from that. That's why I'd be like, you know what? I barely got patience for black women. So sometimes I'll be like, girl, get away from me. Get away from me. I've been called racist because I was just like, level up and date out.
That happened to me. That happened to me. I got called racist against black people
It's
in
like,
like high school. But you touched on something like really interesting, which was just like, I'm that person that always says that, a lot of people don't have certain conversations with each other. And like you said, you don't get mad when somebody wants to date the Instagram model girl or whatever type of person. It's just like, it's know your role and stay in your lane. You can't get upset and butt hurt if somebody just doesn't want to deal with you. Like, you're just not their type, and that's
okay.
okay. And a lot of times, what happens is that the average day-to-day male wants to date the Instagram model, but she don't want to date him because he's too regular.
Yeah,
That's okay.
that's okay.
And, and so now it becomes a blanket statement, and it's like black women or women are like this, and it's like, no, nigga, you was shooting out of your league.
That ooh, that is
Now
the part.
now
I
we all pissed them off.
Yeah, now they mad. I'm just like, bruh, can you like look how you look at your bank account. These things are all in factor. I look in the mirror, I'm like, okay, and I know what I'll be pulling for the most part. I get some cutie fine ones, here and there, but that's not the majority of it. So I pick the best out of the pool I usually get. That's how I get. I'm just like, okay, this is what I usually pull. Nah, bro, I could do better than that from experience, and plus it's more than just looks with women. It really is. I've seen dudes with just confidence up the hoo ha pull. You'd be like, how did you
And
like
then and the same thing goes for women that sometimes might not be aesthetically what we would see somebody with, but they check so many other boxes as well. And it's like, but then even that's a problem. And I'm like, yo, like it's always something wrong. I'm like, what we do today? And sometimes
I
I have to just
yeah,
take a break from social media because I'm like, y'all niggas, I'm like, y'all wake up every day and choose violence, huh? Nobody want to choose peace. Nobody just want to be happy
just want
today.
to be mad like a dude or a woman who complains all the time, which was the dude that went to my DMs. And I started seeing that. I'm like, dang, you are mad a lot. Like,
Mad
why
a
are
lot.
you
Like,
so angry? Like, your temperament is like that. Like, you are a very unhappy person. I'm just like, okay, no, and that goes for anybody. I'm just like, no, I'm cool on that. That energy is not right with me and stuff like that. And so instead of getting upset, which there's men who think logically, they're like, okay, cool. If I'm not your type, then going to somebody else. I'm still gonna be me. And those are the men where I'm just like, okay, you my bro, you somebody I want in my circle because you think logically. We don't have to agree on every damn thing. But at the end of the day, you're not trying to talk. And usually guys like this have a lot of female friends. That's probably why they know how to talk to women. but but where they're like spiritually and mentally centered, and they worked on themselves, and they're in a place where you feel comfortable around them. They're not getting mad at you or
yeah,
mad at women because they may not have what the woman that they want. They don't have what they want. They're like, okay, cool, do you find somebody else? Because men gonna do the same thing. They gonna pick their best options. So don't get mad at a woman for doing that too, because
and that's what I was explaining to last week's guest. I was like, you guys, I'm like, men always say that women have more options, or when it comes to sex, accessibility, all this stuff, like it's easier for women. But I feel like, honestly, the men have it easier than us because one, the number of, especially if you are only dating black men, the number has now shrunk.
you're shooting yourself in the foot if you're doing that. But go ahead.
And I'm a person, I at one point was dating interracially when I moved to Los Angeles, because those were the only men that said they would want to date me. And later down the line, like, I would expand my network, and then I would meet black men that I would be interested in, like dating, and so I would say that um so when you really think about that, like, if you, let's say you're only dating black men, so your numbers, your circle has now just gotten smaller. And then educated black men, um or high value black men or whatever, like, they might not necessarily date black, so now you have even smaller. And then there's a lot of men that are incarcerated, that are dead, and then or in relationships. And so men, the number, I don't know what the numbers is. I feel like at one point it was for every male, it might be like 13 or 14 women, and I feel like that number is even larger now. I feel like it's in the 20s. And Because I mean, think about all. Just think about alone in China, like the goal was to have more males because everybody was having so many, girls. So, it shifts and it falls off a little bit. And whereas men, like, and we should be doing this as women, we should be putting, instead of putting all our eggs in one basket, we should be dropping an egg just like them and seeing
Hmm.
who gonna get back there around
Right.
and what works for us and what makes us happy. But I
It,
get it. Like we're serial monogamists, you
yeah,
know, uh, and which that's a
unless
conversation for
you,
another day.
yeah,
But
unless you were, I'm sorry. I mean, unless you were taught or seen different, it's something you have to learn, and you can. And I understand we have the one that we want, and usually you don't end up with that one, but that's what happens. We get redirected. Everybody gets redirected. The one you with it was never number one 9 times out of 10. But
girl,
yeah, I guess the thing with it's nothing wrong with loving black men or having your own race be your preference, because other racial groups do that.
oh, they
They
do
choose
it.
a woman first. Yeah, they'll date out, don't get me wrong, but collectively they choose their woman first because that's their counterpart. That's how they see it. That's how they circulate, money. That's how, it's a big, it's a whole culture thing. And they know what works for their
Yeah,
race. And the thing is, like with us, when it comes to what black women, I would say pigeonholing themselves to black men, they end up dating way down or out of desperation. That's the problem. It's like you're selecting.
because everybody listened to that damn meme that's saying if you 35 and you single, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, bitch, I'm thriving. I'm flourishing. I'm getting to the bag.
Yeah, I'm making my money. I'm content. I'm joyous. I'm mentally healthy. I'm constantly working on myself. And finding somebody
Mhm.
who matches that may not be for a while, and maybe next year, maybe, who cares? Either way, I'm gonna be all right.
Yeah.
So that alone is attractive to the opposite sex, and has your value of your life. Like, you're living this life, and if
Mhm.
you're waiting for somebody, because that's basically waiting on somebody to complete you, with that mindset.
Can we stay here? Can we stay here for a moment?
Yeah.
This is what I was trying to explain on live. I don't need a man to complete me. A man is supposed to compliment me, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
We can have an experience. We're all humans, like you said. We're living, we're experiencing life. I know I'm a fucking experience, and I'm a damn good time, and I'm a great person. And so, my job, my duty is to also leave people better than what I found them to. I'm not a fixer, but
Mm-hmm.
I want you to have fun. And the next time, your next experience might not be as good. I'm gonna be a little arrogant and cocky.
It's some big shoes to fill.
If but if you choose to walk away, if this fizzles out,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna die without you. I'm going to survive, I'm going to thrive and still be great.
Mm-hmm.
I think I think there's the misconception is that women don't respect men. Women feel like they don't need men, and that's not true. We don't, you know what? Yes, we don't need men. And what I mean by that is that in order for me to live, I don't. In order for me to breathe, I don't. Because I've been doing bad all by myself. You want to come in, you want to have a good time, you want to make it better for me, you want to pay some bills. Great, my nigga. I'm not going to tell
Hey,
you no. And we
no.
have an amazing time and create amazing memories and experiences together. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like that's if I were to die tomorrow, God, please don't strike me down.
God
But
forbid.
God is not going. They're not going to ask me when I get to them gates if they really asking questions like everybody's saying. Dominique, why didn't you have a nigga? He's not going to say that. He's not. And what I mean, like, I think partnership is amazing. It's something that I believe that we're all deserving of, and we should have.
Mm-hmm.
I like being able to, get on the phone or hang out,
Yeah.
go to dinner dates, with a nigga and not always my girlfriends. But it's also a time and place. Like I don't need this person disrupting my life where I feel like I can't function. I'm not hanging out with you or
Yeah.
doing anything because this person controls my space. I think people have it wrong. And
Mm-hmm.
if that's something that you want to do, sir,
Mm-hmm.
Go find the person that wants to do that,
Mm-hmm.
that is just going to lay down and let you do that
Yeah. It's
and be great. But don't be mad at me if
mhm.
that's not something, a role that I want to take on.
Right. It's
I'm
not.
not knocking the chick that wants to do that. It's a lot of bitches that want to be picked.
Yeah,
That's
and
okay.
that's fine. And yeah, like you said, that is fine. And it's just it's nothing wrong with being aware of what you desire. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I go sit up here and say like, oh yeah, I don't never want no man. I don't never want no dick. I don't never want. Let's just be honest, because the more you ignore it, the more of a problem it's gonna be, and people wonder
Exactly.
why you snapping and you
Mhm.
being irritable and stuff. Like, no, girl, be honest with yourself on what it's okay to be happy and content and still have desires. There's people who are together who desire to be single. There's
Yep.
people who got kids who desire to be childless. There's people who want, children who don't. Everybody has their desires, but they're still a whole person. Like you can
Yep.
still have things that you want and still be content and happy with your life. Both things can exist, concurrently. So don't think because you have a desire here and there, because they come and go. Honestly, they come and go in
Right.
waves, and it's based on what decisions do you make when they do.
Yeah.
Like, are you gonna, like you said, date out of desperation? I'm past that. Like, I did that in my 20s. I couldn't go 2 weeks without a man. I had to be on out of
Wow. Shit. A lot of my 20s was a blur. I was like, shit, what was I doing?
man. Every time I look up, I'm like, what was it? That's like 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm like, what was I doing? And then when I hit my 30s, it was just like, shoot, like damn, like what happened? I just don't have the patience for the nonsense and the level of peace. And if you could add to my self containment, that's pretty good. Um, that you're somebody I really want in my life. I'm not saying astronomically perfect. I'm not that. I'm not asking for something I don't have. But I do want somebody who, has strengths in areas I'm weak, who I can be comfortable around and stuff like that. I'm flexible, somewhat on the looks. I ain't asked for a 6 pack with my stomach. That don't make no damn sense. But,
I love it. I love it.
say I'm realistic and stuff. And that's what I need, most women to be, which they are, because y'all been pining over these regular, degular, average looking ass niggas like they Boris Kojo or something. I'm just like, okay, girl. Because we used to think, I'm just backtracking, like, why do average dudes be thinking they the ish? I do take it back to the 90s, because we were pining over dudes like Casey and JoJo.
Who? Who
I'm
was
like,
kind of? I was always a Devontae swing, and you know he weird now.
yeah,
I was like,
Devontae.
I like the pretty fine niggas. I was not a Casey and JoJo.
But they were promoted like the promotion, black girls too, to an extent, back in the 90s. This is like the time we were growing up, but a lot of average, below average looking black men were promoted as desirable,
Yeah.
as in the black love and all that kind of stuff. And you look back, you're like, what the hell was that?
it,
What?
it, they were also very, like you said, abusive, had other things. Because the whole concept of, I'm
Ooh,
sorry, loving basketball, I'm like, why y'all love that? Why
I
y'all love that bullshit? And I
what the
just be like, my
he,
God,
he was a
my
fuck
God.
boy. The fuck boy of all fuck boys. Like, he would just get in his feelings. Like, first of all, you put your hands on a girl when he was a little boy, you gonna get physically violent with a girl because she don't want to be your girlfriend. You gonna push her on the ground. So okay, you're a woman beater at 10. Then because she had to go, she couldn't sit out with you at the benches and talk to you. She was like, well, can we talk inside, or so I can't suit up? Her dreams, the whole reason she went to college. So you decided to go on a date with another girl and throw it in her face. I'm just like, oh, girl. And you just, oh, I, that's why I was like, I wonder
So
why I never watched that
irritated
movie
because,
again. I
but
guess so.
it's so interesting how people try to tell you what you can and can't have, and it's always, and I don't think I've ever, at least for the most part, in my like inner circle, these are not conversations that we have. And if something comes up about somebody that we're dating or a situation, that's one thing. But ain't none of my homeboys or homegirls, at least to my knowledge, at least not to my face,
Mm-hmm.
try to humble me and say, well, you're like average at best, and the niggas you be liking be like tens. So you probably should probably try. No, that's never happened to
You're right.
me. But
Yeah.
I also know very well of what I'm capable of getting and,
Hmm.
and having, and there it's like the picture that I posted, today, and it was the guy who pretty much dressed in the atypical fuck boy outfit. He was a mess, lean, whatever. And the post was like, "Oh, you had a baby by this person, and you wonder why they behave like that or whatever. Just look at this person." And sometimes I know we're not supposed to judge books by its cover, but sometimes it's best.
I mean,
It's
that's when they
best.
go off. Like when they look at you, we all do.
We all
Presentation
do
is
it.
what it is,
And,
and
and and when I've judged people, I have been correct. And I was like, knew something was off. Shook
mhm,
his hand, knew his energy was weird by that limp handshake,
mhm,
or you know what I mean. And so I feel like but yeah. So if that's the case and you don't want that, then put your best foot forward and just be you. But if you ain't shit, nigga, say that shit.
mhm,
Like your outfit tell, I don't need to fuck you.
mhm.
This is not gonna be. This is not gonna be a great time. I'm gonna be heavy afterwards. So but people
And
have to make better judgment and not blame their fuck ups
mhm.
because now they don't want to be accountable and it's women's fault. Oh, wait, sorry, black women's fault. I'm
Of
like,
course.
no, we tired of y'all shit. We don't be doing
Yeah.
nothing. We be trying to get our nails done, our hair done, take care of ourselves,
Mhm.
soak in a nice bubble bath, and next thing you know, black women, what we do? What?
We it's the problem with that is it's very profitable to pick at black
Mhm.
women. It's not profitable to pick at black men. Um, I wouldn't say that's a good idea anyway. Even though some of the channels I see that I used to watch, I think Cynthia G was one, but she would, keep showing these videos of what black men choose. I'm like, okay, girl, what do you want to do about it? Like,
Yeah,
you're just gonna keep. So I stopped watching her, and but her videos, those videos will never go viral. The ones about black men, they don't go viral. The ones
yeah.
about black women go viral, go mainstream, and I have to really look at the consumers. Like,
Hmm.
why is it such a multi-million-dollar business to
Right.
come and either like prod and pick, and other races, because there's no gatekeepers.
Yep.
Other races feel freedom to do it because black women do it so publicly. We're not protected. Be like, oh, that white girl from TikTok talk about, oh, well, how come do I was like, she asked something about she twerks in the UK or some shit. She's like, well, I'm gonna ask black women something. Do you feel protected by black men? I'm like, girl, this whole facetious ass question, like, you know what you're doing. Like, we're not stupid. Because at this point, it's not even kitchen talk anymore. It's so public.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
know what she was trying to do. She was just trying to poke and prod, get some clicks and views, because we're technically an easy target,
Yeah.
and try to wrap it up in concern. I'm like, girl,
And honestly, I believe that the easiest way is like you said, don't engage in the comments.
mm-mm,
Don't engage in the comments. And if we talking to each other, don't engage in the comments. Like we're not talking to you.
mm-mm,
And I saw a thread today, a girl, she was like a journalism major, and she was looking for like a mentor, but she wanted a black mentor.
mm-mm.
So if somebody knew somebody, could they send her away? Could you tag them so she could follow them and try to connect? All up under that post, it's like white people. Oh, you could reach out to me. No, bitch, she said black, and somebody. And I was about to say to the girl, she said black, and somebody beat me, and like, and so she was like, "You don't say." He said, "But she wants a black mentor." Simmer down now.
Yeah.
Pipe down, Susan.
All right, Cheryl.
Well, it's one thing. It's one thing for like I said, like there were people suggesting, like, hey, follow this person, try to connect with this person, or whatever. They were just letting her know that we're responding. But I'm like, yo, like this is not. This is you're doing like She asks for something specific, you don't fall in line. It's okay that you're left out because you know it's a problem when they're left out.
Oh yeah. What about us? This is not your
It,
space.
it ain't your space, but that's another conversation for another day because we
Yeah.
allow them to take up too much.
Oh yeah. It's been that entitlement. And if I was a white woman, I'd be very big headed. I'd be very big headed because, yeah, I have my own in house problems with my men, but I
Hmm.
also am the queen of white supremacy. I mean, I
Yep.
lie in the same bed. I get this. I get the benefits of it.
Yep.
And then I also have my beauty being the standard because my men provided that for me. They're
Uh-huh.
like, okay, you want to be a standard beauty? Let's provide that. Because to them, as if our women look bad, we look bad. That's the mindset of men outside of other races. That's how they think. They're like, well, it all ties back to them because they're all men at the end of the day. I'm not deifying any man over, don't deify any race of men. Let me just say that.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying how they operate and why providing is so important because it makes them look bad if they can't do that. But
Right.
us
Right.
over here as a collective don't have that mindset. The men don't have that mindset. So while you're publicly, the ones who publicly bash us, the ones who try to like, oh, I'm not like them, it makes you look bad too. It makes
Hmm.
it look like, okay, if your women this messed up, what are you doing as a man? You're not building, you're not providing, you're not doing X, Y, and Z. It makes you look horrible. And a lot of them don't get that. And even if the ones who do don't want to put in the work, don't want to do that. So it's like, okay, you don't want to do it. I'll leave you alone because
Yeah.
I got my work to do. And that's why I pulled away from certain these conversations because it's not even conversation. It's just something that brings you
Right.
down and makes you upset. And there's no solution. So I just want to say, to Black women specifically, stay out of those comments, whatever the follow alerts, the whatever those, urban blogs and posts and stuff, what just to get you riled up. Don't take the bait.
Yep.
Ignore the bait, and you will grow and be much better for it.
Yep.
That's I
And
was.
and and it's okay, like, just to take a break from social media. Life in general, especially these days, has been very chaotic, very frustrating, very hard. Everybody's mental health has been pulled every which way. Unplug, love on
Yeah.
you, because like you're not gonna get that back, like, from the day to day. Like
Hmm.
being on social media. Go
Hmm.
unplug and do something.
Yeah.
And what I would love to even do when it comes to like going out, like when you commune with your friends and whatnot,
Hmm.
hey, like, no phones today. Like, at least while we're at the table, while we're eating, let's have a conversation. Like, let's just really, really dial it back. Like, it's one thing, like, I know we all are about experiences and posting, but today, like, let's go somewhere we always go. Let's have a dope conversation and let's just kick it, like, those
Yeah.
are things that people really, really need.
Oh yeah, because I know I'm actually going through a bout of depression currently. I'm just gonna be a transparent moment.
Mhm.
And I had to literally like, okay, Veronica, just stay under the shower a little longer, have, listen to happy music, talk to a loved one, talk to this stuff because it kept prolonging. I'm just like, I've never been this depressed this long. And it
Yeah.
started to scare me. And I'm just like, okay, because I went through therapy and I, definitely go back. And I, of course, prefer a Black woman, in the therapy chair. But it's okay to, like you said, unplug to where, because I'm looking at posts and everybody's living their best life. I post, I try to put up inspirational things and funny things because I do want to give the same escapism I try to give myself. Like I want to
Yeah.
laugh and I like to see some motivation too. But understand, I may post something funny and I could be crying behind the damn screen.
Yeah.
Like
No,
it's real, and it's okay to cry.
it's so okay. And I too, I can relate just because it's been so much. And I'm like, I was saying how, man, like, I feel like something's off because even when I like, you buy clothes. I can't wait till that package come. You tracking? Where my tracking number? When is it gonna be here? I had ordered something like a dress from Zara, and I ordered it on a Sunday. It got here on a Monday.
Oh
And I
wow.
was like, damn, but I didn't even open it. I had already had another package here just sitting, boots just sitting. And I was just like, okay, what's going on? Because I'm at the door, even for toilet paper from Amazon. Like, I'm waiting to open the package, and I was like, okay, so something's off. And I knew that I had been experiencing a lot of interpersonal things that kind of really started to like permeate my space.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, I have to get a hold on this because I don't like feeling like this,
Mm.
and I'm one to isolate. Like, I like spending a lot of time by myself,
Okay.
a lot. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you said, like, it's just for me to recharge. Like, I have to be alone.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we show up so much for, especially for you, because you're, on the stage performing, and it's draining. You're drained, you're so exhausted. And I was like, okay, I'm sad. Like, I have to do something this weekend for me because I was sad.
Yeah, I feel you on that. It's where you feel it's your body telling you, it's your mental telling you, like, okay, hey, take a pause, take a break. And sometimes you may not even know what the hell that is. You just have to try certain things
Yeah.
until you're like, you know what, okay, I like this. I like watching my favorites, very simple, funny. Like, I watch King of Queens. Like, I was watching like every day because it was just
Mm.
simple, it was
Yep.
familiar. It wasn't something I had to really pay attention to, because even the familiar can make you feel very happy. Like, okay,
Oh
it's
yeah,
comfort.
absolutely.
So that's why a lot of times you binge watch the show that you've seen over and over again already. But it's like it's the familiar. And so even if that's it, I like it with my popcorn and some wine. I'm like, this feels good. Like, okay, let me try something else. So it for those, get out in nature. I gotta tell myself that. I'm like, I'll drive out in nature and I will like, you know what, let me do that. I'm not the nature girl, even though I do like to do it, like certain extreme type of sports. It's weird. But I went to see my friend play volleyball. So I was like,
Okay.
okay, they're a little too competitive for me. So let me just take my beach chair and watch y'all and put my feet in the sand. So that helped me, halfway through the day,
Yeah.
um, and stuff like that. So yeah, it's very when you're as a comedian, it's the thing about being a comedian that I've like noticed. Like, why am I so drained? I only was on stage 15 minutes, and then like, well, it's more than that. Like, you're getting ready, you're building your jokes, you're in flight mode in front of all these people, trying to make them
Mhm.
laugh and that kind of stuff while being yourself, and then hanging out, meet and greet, and all that kind of stuff. It's something that drains you, but also fills your cup.
Yeah.
And the mindset of comedian, we have to look at the problem in things. So we have to think kind of sinister a lot. We have to think
Yeah.
negatively to make it funny. Like, we got to highlight the problem in something. And that could take a toll on your brain. They're like, oh, think positive, think positive. Like, well, how am I going to make a joke if I think positive all that damn time? We have to go into that dark spaces, you
Right.
know?
Right.
that that could take a toll. It's like, okay, especially as a comedian or an entertainer or whatnot, that I guess they call it the third eye or whatnot, the subconscious, basically, um,
Yeah.
digging in those spaces that are uncomfortable and being basically, almost spiritually naked in front of people and being transparent and stuff because people can pick on when you're like being fake. So I have to be, and I'm not a very open person to share, but when I get on stage, that's where you need to do it. And that could really drain you, and and things that you see can like hurt, but you
Yeah.
make it funny. And it's something where, like you said, be very mindful when you need to just recharge for whatever your circumstances are. So
Yeah. It's a process, and we all are trying our best to take it one day at a time and finding things that
mhm.
really fulfill us, make us happy, and just being really gentle with ourselves too. I have many friends in, different industries, and I think we're all experiencing similar heavy things,
Yeah.
it's like the ways of the world are taking a toll on all of us on top of, like our personal bullshit. And it's just like, my God.
Right.
Like
Oh
I have
my
to sometimes, like there was a period of time during lockdown where I was like, especially for my male friends, I was like, hey, like I put them all in one group chat,
God.
and we would and we just say, hey, mental health check in, like just checking in on everybody, seeing how everybody's doing, because my life didn't change. A bitch still had to go to work, and so I was like, so my mind wasn't as idle as everybody else's, and that my time wasn't. But baby, I wish we could, because I'm like, I'm like, the traffic, the ins and outs of this shit. I'm like, y'all
Like,
niggas need to sit the fuck down.
right. Don't y'all work at home? Why do we got traffic at 11 a.m. on a Saturday? It doesn't make any sense. What? Okay. Thought y'all
None.
niggas was
Okay.
leaving.
But Veronica, I want you to tell everybody what you have coming up, what you got going on, where they can find you on the social medias.
Yeah, well, you can find me at, Veronica A. Brown, on Instagram. That's where it's really popping. And that's where I act a fool. No, I'm cool. That's where you can find stuff like my links to any shows coming up, just my funny sketches and stuff, that y'all can get a kiki, ha ha. We can all use that for sure. Though, I do I'll be performing at the Comedy Store for Crack 'em Up on June 30th. So I think it's the last Thursday of this month. I'll be performing there, and yeah, that's what I got coming up. And let's see, yeah, that's all I got cracking. Anything else that comes up, y'all can see me on social media, and yeah, follow me, and get a laugh. And that's what I like to make people do. So hopefully I can make you laugh on social media, acting a fool.
All right. Well, thank you so much for stopping by, and I appreciate having this healthy conversation.
Yeah,
And just putting information out there, and giving people the opportunity to kind of really take a moment, dial it back, and really think things through. And everybody, we're all having moving through these experiences, and we be taking life too seriously. Like, this
yeah,
is why we have Veronica. Don't drain her, replenish her, fill her cup, and let it overflow. And I feel like we just all need to laugh more. I feel like we just gotta really laugh, and just, you know, really take things into perspective, because there's
mhm,
always something fun. I'm like, damn, I went to the chicken spot and I pull up in this auto shop. How the fuck? And I'm like, GPS, y'all hella fucked up for this, but I'm gonna get this chicken. And but
yeah,
I just was like, this will only happen to me. So it's just like, I'm always able, after the situation is done and I've like taken a moment to process it, I always make a joke out of something. And I'm like, and I probably make the joke too soon. I probably make the
it's
joke too
fine.
soon, but I was like, okay, well, if this gonna help me feel better, I might as well. So
Yeah, sometimes you gotta laugh at life because life is gonna happen, and it's just so much easier. It's okay to recognize, like, ain't this a blip? Like,
Yep.
it's funny, like something where you could just let it out and
Yeah.
not like be mad at it per se. Like you said, like it's okay to not take yourself so seriously or things that happen so seriously, because guess what? It's stuff that when you share with somebody, when you talk to somebody, like, oh, this happened to me today, and y'all both get a key out of it and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
life happens for a reason, and there's just some things the lighter you take it, like stuff that's just, did it kill you? Did it chop off your leg? Did
Yeah.
it do any of those
Yeah.
things? And you're just like, no, like, okay, well, cool, so it just gets you out of that complainer mindset per se.
Yeah.
Unless you write a joke like me, then I have to complain. But yeah, I would say, like, don't try not to take yourself so as serious, and put so much pressure on yourself. Whether it's where you are in life, where you like, I'm supposed to be here, I'm supposed to be doing this, I'm supposed to have this. Nah, man, you're here. This life, like you said, life is short. We're not here forever, so live it to your best, to where you find joy and contentment.
Amen to that. And guys, We will see you guys back here next week.
Having me for sure.